Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well and staying safe and healthy during these times. This is Radhika here again, and this video is going to be about how does a fearful, anxious attachment style, how it produces covert narcissistic people. So to begin with, let me introduce what is attachment style. So, the way a person was treated in their childhood by their primary caregivers is the way in which they attach themselves to the world, or the ego attaches of that person to the world. And so basically that is how they interact with the world, what they think of the world, how they show up in the world, how they perceive the world. So it's like a filter that the person puts on everything, all relationships that they have in the world, their friendships, their office relationships, their romantic relationships later in life, everything basically, or just the amount of trust that they have in consciousness or in their relationship with the universe or God or everything basically. So, what is anxious attachment style? So, anxious attachment style gets like a child becomes anxiously attached to his or her parents or caregivers, primary caregivers, when there is either like over indulgence in the child. So there's a lot of love given, a lot of care given to the child, a lot of correcting the child, like do it this way or do it that way. And a lot of attention is given to the child to a point where the child doesn't really ever individuate from the parents. So these are like extremely codependent parents who always want to keep the child like enmeshed within them. And the way they do this is um, basically by not letting the child understand who am I in this world. So the child almost becomes like an extension of the parents or of the family that they belong to. And this can also happen when the family system is very strong. For example, like in India, in joint families, if you grow up in a joint family where there's lots of uncles, aunts, this, that, there's almost like a cult like status that the family has, and everyone follows the same rules, regulations, laws, everything is same. The patterns are same. All the women, they will do this, all the men, they will do that. And the individual can't really separate their identity from this family. So what happens is they become anxiously attached. And what does anxious attachment mean? It means, like at its core, it means that if this individual is separated from their primary caregivers or from this family or from this the image that the child has of what he is or she is, they don't know who they are. So it's a lot of loss of identity if they separate. So there's this extreme codependency on the unit, on the family unit, or on the parents, or on the lineage, or on the surname that this person has, or on this like whole status or ideal, like if you're the royals, then if you're not the royals, then who are you, that kind of a thing. And then so basically this individual, they have never tried out for themselves, like what do I like, what are my likes, what are my dislikes, beyond the family traditions, who am I, what do I like to do, how do I want to spend my time. If the family has always told them that you have to be a doctor, and say they become a doctor because they are in this trance like state since childhood, maybe after 10 years of becoming a doctor they realize I actually never wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be like an engineer, or I wanted to be an artist. So it's this kind of loss of knowing yourself that happens when a person is anxiously attached to their caregivers or to their family. um, so these people, what happens is, once they um, once they become grown up and they step into the real world and they start doing a job or something like that, then they attach not to the family so much, because in the human process you kind of look to other people to attach to. They kind of follow the same process even there. They don't know who they are, so they kind of become like who the other person wants them to be. So they are good at reading people, because since childhood they have been reading everyone around them to kind of stay in that environment, to survive there and not to be outcasted by the environment. Yeah, and another thing I forgot to mention is that they have extreme abandonment issues. And they have extreme abandonment issues because they don't know who they are beyond this establishment, or beyond the parents, or beyond the family surname, lineage, etc. So if they get abandoned, they have this complete loss of identity. And so the only thing that they are always holding on to is this family or the caregivers, etc. And so what happens is, later in life, these people, they do the same thing. Like if they want to be your friend, they kind of show you that I am exactly who you want me to be. So they just become exactly who you want them to become. And by this they gain your support, or by this they gain your friendship or your relationship, etc. So this sounds a lot like covert narcissists, because covert narcissists, they kind of project onto you the exact image that they would think you would want from them. And if the anxiously attached person stays anxiously attached throughout the relationship, they become codependent on you. um, or uh, if they are a little bit on the recovery journey, where they realize that, um, I don't want to be attached to this person, then they sometimes also show up as covert narcissists. So it'll be like they will try to please you, they will people please a lot. And when they see that you are not reciprocating what they want back to you, they will just leave. They will ghost you, or they will basically they'll be like, okay, I'm done putting my efforts here, and they will leave. Because that's all they know, really. They don't know the communication part yet, where they can actually come and ask you that, hey, what's going on, why are you not replying to me? So because they have extreme attachment issues, sometimes they leave before you can leave them. So that's another way anxiously attachment produces people who are covertly narcissistic, especially people who ghost. They could have anxious attachment, so they leave you before you leave them, that kind of an attitude. um, and then the extreme end of this is basically, if you attach to them, like if they see that, oh, I'm showing this person a false self of myself, like I'm just trying to be who they want me to be. And if you're an empath who's not very balanced, and you give and you give and you give to them, they will take and take. And then when you start realizing that this person is not showing up so much for me, or maybe they start like, because anxious attachment is also a little bit needy, right? So neediness is a part of their personality, because they don't uh, all the encouragement or all the different types of love that they need, it doesn't just come. If it doesn't come from one person, they really don't know how to fill the gap by themselves, because they don't do any self soothing. They always need other people to soothe them. So what happens is, such a person often goes from person A to person B, and then they will be like, person A is fulfilling this need for me, and person B is fulfilling this need for me. So they are often like what you call cheaters or players, like who have a lot of like options. They are juggling a lot of times. And so what they will do is, once they receive from you and then maybe you can't fulfill all their needs, so they will go to someone else to fulfill something. And in that time, if you catch them, like if you catch them, and you might consider that as cheating, because they are going to another person to fulfill another need that they have. And they might consider it just, I'm fulfilling my needs. So there might be like a clash of communication or ideology there. And then they will be very quick to kind of let you go. They'll be like, okay, fine, this person, I'm done with this person now. Because this is a game for this becomes like a game and a needs meeting game for them. So they don't have a real attachment to you per se, because they don't know who they are really. All they can do is they can fulfill their needs from someone, then they go to someone else, fulfill their needs, then they go to someone else, fulfill their needs. So they are basically just all about fulfilling their needs, because their ego is not highly developed. They don't know who they are, what their ideals are, what their uh, etc etc is. All they have is this image of themselves that their parents or their caregivers or their um, whoever they attach to anxiously in their childhood has given to them. And so all they do is to preserve this image. All they want to do is preserve this image, and then they also have some needs of themselves which they satisfy by all these means. But then they have two duties. They have a duty to maintain this image, and the other duty they have is to fulfill all their needs. So they are kind of doing these two things at the same time all the time. So they are extremely anxious, like such people, when you meet them, they won't be really present with you. If you ask them questions at a deep level, they won't be able to answer you. And most of their talk is very surface level. So you will know these people when you see them. So that is my analysis of how, if a person is anxiously attached in their childhood, it produces covertly narcissistic people when they grow up. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you for your shares, subscribes, and comments. And as always, I wish you a lot of love and a lot of light. Thank you. Bye.